All right, peace. What up? Hope all's well, everybody. Hope all's well. Shoot, it's now. Yeah, man. Today I want to get into. I've been meaning to do this video for a minute now, cause I think it was a few months ago, like back in March. I had a conversation with an elder, man, and he just brought up. He brought up to me like the account of Moses in Numbers 20, and the way like we were talking, the way he like during our conversation, the way you know, um, he brought it out, the way his perspective on it. He really told me like the point of like what happened. Like the reason why Moses. I didn't think about it till he said it. Like, 'cause I've read it before. Um, when I read it the first time in Numbers 20, it didn't really register. I was like, well, okay, there's a reason why that Moses um didn't make the promised land, but um, it was the fact that he told me, he's like, listen, the reason why that he didn't make it was the thing that he didn't glorify the Most High, that he didn't say his name when when he went to the rock. I mean, the water come out of the rock, man. So that just stuck with me. I mean, a lot of y'all just knew that, but I don't know, when he said it, when I had the conversation with the elder, I was like, oh, it just took me aback, and was like, listen, man, that made so much more sense. And like just made sense to me. It more like it was more revelatory to me when the elder actually, we were just talking, and he um showed that to me, and explained it to me. So I'm just gonna read Numbers 20, man. So um this is book of Numbers, chapter 20. Then the children of Israel came. Then came the children of Israel, even the whole congregation, into the desert of Zin. And in the first month, the people abode in Kadesh, and Miriam died there and was buried there. So Miriam, died there. And there was no water for the congregation, and they gathered themselves against Moses and Aaron. So you know how our people are. There's no water. There was, you know how our people are. So, and the people, verse 3, and the people chose with Moses and spake, saying, would Yahweh that would he had died when our brethren died before the Lord. Verse 4, why we brought up to the congregation of the Lord into this wilderness, that we and our cattle should die here. So our people were murmuring like, okay, well, we just came out of Egypt for nothing if we're going to die in the wilderness. So how our people are. We the same way to this day. So in verse 5, and wherefore have ye made us come up out of Egypt just to bring us to this evil place? It is no place of seed or figs or vines and pomegranates, neither is there any water to drink. And when Moses and Aaron went to the presence of the assembly in the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, they fell upon their faces, and the glory of the Lord appeared to them. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, take the rod and gather thy assembly together, and Aaron thy brother, and speak unto the rock before their eyes. It shall give forth his water, and thou shalt bring them forth the water out of the rock. And so thou shalt give the congregation their beasts drink, and their beasts drink. And verse 9, and Moses took the rod before the Lord as he commanded him. And Moses and Aaron gathered the congregation together before the rock, and he said unto them, Hear now, ye rebels, we must fetch you water out of this rock. Verse 11, and Moses lifted up his hand with his rod and smote the rock twice, and smote the rock twice, and the water came out abundantly, and the congregation drank, and their beasts also. And the Lord spake unto Moses and Aaron, because ye believed me not, and sanctified me. This is really the point. Verse 12, and the Lord spake unto Moses and Aaron, and because ye believed me not, to sanctify me in the eyes of the children of Israel, therefore ye shall not bring the congregation into the land which I have given them. And this is the water of Meribah, because the children of Israel strove with the Lord, and he was sanctified in them. That's really it on that. I could read the. That's really it on that. So yeah, man. So when the elder brought thoughts out, I was like, verse 12 really was the point. He said, because you didn't sanctify me in front of the people, didn't say my name, because he was supposed to, talk to, he was supposed to talk to Rock. He's supposed to sanctify the Most High with it. But since he didn't do that, and that's why him, and Aaron, they didn't make the promised land, because it was the Most High that was doing this, because the Most High does it. So, when the elder had brought that out, I just sat back for a minute. I was like, I just never even thought of it like that, because I have read Numbers, before, probably gotta read it again, the whole book again, but I'm on different books, but I read it before, and I remember this account, and it kind of stuck with me. I was like, okay, well, that's the reason why. I was just like, okay, well, that's the reason why, Moses didn't make the promised land, but I really didn't know, like, it was more deeper than that. That was because he didn't know the Most High's name, and as great as Moses was, that was on, like, the thing that, kept him out, man. But, he did he did the works that, that we can't even, his greatness, man, was so surreal, man. That's why we try to, one of our forefathers try to follow his footsteps and what he did, man. His leadership, like that's he's embodied, like, leadership. Where, what the exploits of Moses was, but yeah, when the elder I was talking to, like, a few months ago, I think back in March, brought this out. It was just it was very revelatory. I just stopped, and once our conversation was over, I read the account again. And I was like, oh shit, like, wow, I never even registered to me, man. That's important to elders, man, to teach you, man, to teach you about the law, statutes, and commandments, teach you scriptures, or just give you wisdom. That's why we gotta bow our ear to them, hear them, because I was just talking about this with somebody yesterday, with a brother yesterday, and we had met a elder out there, older man, elder, and yeah, man, we was just talking about this, man. Yeah, man, that's how important it is. But yeah, man, I just never, like, I don't know, when it was just crazy when he told me this, and because I had never thought about it like this. So I'm gonna read verse 12 again, because that's really was the point. And the Lord spake unto Moses and Aaron, saying, because ye believe me not, and to sanctify me in the eyes of the children of Israel, and ye shall not bring this congregation into the land which I have given them. So yeah, man. So that's really, I've been meaning to do is cover this for a minute, man. So I'm gonna read this whole account in Oxford, see how this reads. Because really, at the end of the day, it's the Most High, man. That His name is His. Even Moses kind of, like, got caught up sometimes. It's like, even I have moments like that sometimes. Like, like it's not. It's always we're all just vessels, basically, for, like, when we try to teach our people, or give our people the word, or whatever office that we do for this ministry, for this word, for this work. We're all just vessels for it, man. We all just giving, the Most High and Yahushua, the glory. And Yahushua gives the Most High the glory, but the Most High, tells us, come to the mediator, that being Christ. So they get all the glory, honestly, for this, man. We ain't none of the vessels, and He just ain't me. I'm really a nobody, man. So yeah, man. To be honest, man. So that's why it's so important, to realize these things. Let's get it. The book of Numbers, chapter 20. In the first month, the whole community of Israel arrived in the wilderness of Zin and stayed some at Kadesh, and Miriam died and was buried there. Verse 2, and the community was gathered without water, and the people gathered against Moses and Aaron. They disputed with Moses, and if only we had perished with our brothers perished before the Lord, they said, why have you brought the Lord's assembly into this wilderness, and for our livestock to die here? Why did you make us come out from out of Egypt to land us in this terrible place, where nothing will grow, neither will grain nor figs nor vines nor pomegranates? There is even not there is not even water to drink. Verse 6, Moses and Aaron went from the assembly to the entrance of the tent of the meeting. And when they prostrated themselves, and the glory of the Lord appeared to them, and the Lord said unto Moses, take your staff, and then with your brother assemble the community in front of them, all, command the rock to yield its waters. Thus you will produce water from the community out of the rock for them and their livestock. And Moses took his staff and before the Lord, and he had been ordered. Verse 10. And he with Aaron assembled all the people in front of the rock and said to them, and listen, you rebels, must we get this water for you out of this rock? And Moses raised his hand and struck it with the rock with his and twice with his staff. Water gushed out in abundance, and all that he drank, and animals. But the Lord said to Moses and Aaron, you did not trust me so far, and uphold my holiness in the sight of Israel, and in the sight of the Israelites. Therefore you will not lead this assembly into the land, and I am giving them. Such were the waters at Meribah, and where the people disputed with the Lord, through which his holiness was upheld. Yeah, man. So that's it. And before I came back to my mind, because I remember my thoughts and what I got when the first time before I had the conversation, what I got from this account, what I got from this, when I read this, and they had, and it's our people's fault too, man. And because Moses, man, his leadership and his he was probably burnt out, man. I know I know I can only imagine what Moses that went through, man, because he was like got so frustrated because it's so like with our people, it's just so like frustrating and vexing, like and he's the most meekest man on earth and had a lot of patience, but he lost it. So that's the only reason, there and our people we're part of the reason that he didn't make it too. Like we played our ancestors, we played a part in that too. The reason why he didn't make it in too, because Moses like was just so frustrated and like he got so tired and he did it, but but when the elder had brought it to me, he told me that it was the reason why, because he didn't sanctify the Lord's name. But beforehand that was my just thought. I was like, man, well Moses didn't make it because he just he lost it, and justifiably so dealing with our people. So and just imagine what Moses dealt with on the day-to-day basis, during that time, man. I can only imagine, man. So that's why when I went into those three brothers that rebelled against Moses, man, it's like, listen, man, might think you wanted that position of Moses God, but you really don't, man, because that's why it's just good to not compare yourself to nobody, and that's good because Moses went through a lot. So y'all three, I think there were three Reubenites that not they were. I think one of them was from tribe of Reuben, the other was from Levi. I can't remember. One of y'all brothers can correct me, but the three men that rebelled against him, it's like, listen, man, you don't know. Like, you might think you want it, but you don't want it, man, because that's what type of things Moses endured, man. That's really what we played a part in him not making the promised land, man, because we stressed and burnt him out so much. Like, he got frustrated. He had reached his limit, man. So that was even before that was my understanding of it. Like before I had the conversation with the elder, but the elder brought it out to me. Like, listen, this is really the reason why, because even during his frustration, like with our people, he still didn't do what the Lord commanded him to do and sanctify His name, and for the water to come out the rock, so we could so our people had something to drink, and for them and their livestock, their cattle and whatnot, man. So that was the reason why, man. So yeah, man. So I just really wanted to cover that. I've been meaning to cover this for a little for a while now. I just never got to it, man. But hopefully this was edifying, man. Hopefully y'all got something out of this. So peace.